Early on, I felt like there was so much innuendo going on.
Yes.
And lots of jokes. Like, they really threw a lot of jokes in.
The late Commander Bond, who is, I believe, at this moment on his way to the bottom of the South China Sea.
I always wondered how I'd feel if I ever saw you again.
He's my new anchorman.
Now I know. I'm just up here at Oxford, brushing up on a little Danish.
I'd say developed an Oedipus complex.
I'm afraid you're going to have to kiss off your lesson, James.
We seem to have developed a certain attachment to each other.
Just off the cuff, I thought we might link up. Let's stay undercover.
You always were a cunning linguist, James.
When she calls him a cunning linguist,
he's a cunning linguist. My wife had to ask me what that meant.
She has a girlfriend moment with M where she's like, don't ask.
Don't ask. Don't tell.
There's that moment with Stamper at the end where Stamper's like, hey, I have your babe. And he's like,
it's over, Stamper. Let her go.
Let her go. And I always think, like, the Joker always jumps in my mind where the Joker's like, poor choice of words. And I'm like, why didn't they? This is Bond. And they always make jokes. As soon as he said, let her go, that was the cue for Stamper to be like, okay, and then let her go.
They didn't finish the script.
She needed that moment to be able to take the detonators and throw them to Bond. That's also why when he tied her up, he left just enough mobility so that she could reach down and grab the detonators and throw them at Bond.
Stop doing that.
But she couldn't climb up the chain.
She had dinosaur hands.
Yeah, she had dinosaur hands.
She got dinosaur hands.
Know?
The writers just went nuts with the quips. Like, they were just like, every character gets a quip. Every character is going to get a joke that relates to the news or newspapers or some bullshit.
Oh, it's old news, Elliot. Station break.
That is the go.
I may have some breaking news for you, Elliot.
We even get several Bond jokes, right? Like Charlie's definition.
Since we haven't defined it in a while, the way I define a Bond joke, it's not just a joke. You're totally correct. This movie has a lot of jokes coming from a lot of different people. But the way this show has defined a Bond joke is that a murder has just occurred, typically by Bond, and it's followed up by a joke that is punny, got a little double meaning to it.
I think you got the point.
In this movie, there are several. He ejects guy trying to garrote him in the jet.
Backseat driver.
The second one is when he throws that guy in the red jacket into the printing press, and there's blood everywhere, and he says,
they'll print anything these days.
And then the last one is when the guy is trying to ambush Bond during Carver's bad guy speech.
Sorry about that. I tuned out there for a moment, Elliot.
The second one that you mentioned, Charlie, is the image of this movie that I think about to this day. The fact that you had the blood running on the newspaper and how it ties in with the news. That was like the perfect image for this movie, and like it always stuck with me.
You forgot the first rule of mass media, Elliot. Give the people what they want.
Carver's death is like, I guess it's okay, but a fitting death, you know me with my fitting death, a fitting death he would have been the guy that falls into the printing press and then there's blood everywhere.
Maybe a massive TV crushing him.
Yeah, there you go. A satellite falls on his head. Or even the weird thing with Stamper, when Stamper is like, you and I are going to die together. All he had to do was hold Bond for a minute, and instead he puts Bond on the ramp so that Bond can then slide down. And then he's primed and ready to cut off his jacket. GoldenEye, they're all fitting. It's great. With this, they're just action movie deaths. They're not really thought out. They just perform their function.
Yeah, and again, that's probably the purpose of just like, they didn't have the script finished, so they were like, we gotta have something crazy happen here.
These are like nitpicky things, but it's all just kind of part and parcel of...
Yeah, screw it.
Yeah.